a furniture collection with Century Furniture, a lighting collection with Visual Comfort, and now a line of textiles with Lee Jofa early this summer. A unique challenge, as you can imagine, in providing more behind-the-scenes footage of how to make interiors look magical and perfect. What does it take to make an image sing and inspire? Please also welcome Robert Rufino, Style Director at House Beautiful. Robert has worked at numerous publications over his stellar career, from Harper's Bazaar, the New York Times Magazine, Elle Decor, and Architectural Digest. He is a beloved design editor and champion and supporter of our design community. And he's going to tell us the secrets and insights behind a magazine's photo shoot. And thank you for being here virtually with 200 Lex, the final week of What's New, What's Next. Kudos to Jim Druckman and the entire marketing team. You all came out with a dynamic website and awesome programming. Please send any questions you may have in the chat feature at the bottom of your screen, and we can answer at the end. Welcome, Mara, Jesse, and Robert. Take us behind the scenes.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, Robert. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. and Mrs. How are you?
Good, and thank you for joining us on our anniversary today.
Oh, your wedding anniversary or business anniversary? Wedding. How many years?
18.
God bless. Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
So we're happy to do this with you, Robert, because we've had a lot of wonderful shoots together.
Right.
And I was thinking before we signed up for this, how much you actually have taught us in terms of putting together these beautiful spaces. And so we just wanted to start off the conversation and the visuals with, maybe some familiar imagery, some interiors that we've shot. And this is actually a project we did for Jessica Chastain, which was published in Architectural Digest in 2016.
A very beautiful project that was. Wow.
A very beautiful project, thank you. And I think, this really, for us, shows what it really kind of showcases the moodiness and sort of the style factor of putting together a photo shoot and all of the accessories and sort of bringing life and fantasy. And I think she was, a wonderful client to work with because of her theatrical background. I think she's also very attuned to having these sort of sets and set design. And so it was a fun design process with her, certainly, because she was, open and receptive to the theatrics of it. She wanted, crystals and the huge blossoms in the corner, and it was all more is more. And so it was a fun process, and then I think even a more fun photo shoot.
But nice. I mean, to me, this is a very elegant project. I mean, it has great drama, and it's also about the photography. Photographed it, gave it a really good edge, and it really complemented what the two of you put into this beautiful apartment. I mean, it's this to me this picture is so poetic, and it's really, I want to be in that room. And I think that's the magic of magazines and what we do, or in interior design. When we do photo shoots, people don't really realize what goes on to make it perfectly perfect. And this is really beautiful. When people say, "Oh, what's wrong with my pictures?" and I say, "Well, the flowers are not right," or those blossoms in the back and that hit of that pink color with those peonies, and of course all your beautiful furniture and textures, but all that magic, every detail makes the picture more inviting, and it tells a story, like, where am I? And the color of those walls are amazing. Is it fabric or paint?
It's a paint finish that unfortunately is no longer available. It was a Ralph Lauren suede painted finish. So it's just this really matte, mossy green.
I thought the walls were upholstered in suede.
Velvety.
Yeah, that was the name of the finish.
Beautiful.
But yeah, it's really about creating this drama, and this is the work of Douglas Friedman, who is wildly talented, but also just getting that beam of light. And I think, also just embracing, he's capturing the architecture, and all of the elements there are just singing.
But I'm sure it didn't look like that hours before you photographed it, right?
Well, you know, something I think about is a lot of the times a room is really pretty, but when you photograph it, it's two-dimensional and it loses something. It's dead, because when you're experiencing a room, you're glancing around and you're kind of taking everything in, and the singularity of an image kind of deadens a space. And I think that maybe this conversation is really about what do we do to kind of express the real feeling of a room.
Right.
Because it isn't always a direct translation.
No, it's not. I mean, listen, you could have the most beautiful room and it just doesn't photograph well. But I think what you guys have accomplished here with Douglas is, as I go back, those branches or blossoms in the back, it's an explosion, you know, and that gives the room tension, and the moodiness of his film really helps.
Yeah.
And it tells a story, you know, and the bottom line is you want to show off your work, you want to celebrate your work, and you want the reader to walk into that room. You know, when I go through magazines or books, everything needs to tell a story. There has to be something about that particular project or picture that says something, and there's great tension and there's great mystery in this. And
a couple of behind the scenes notes here.
yes.
That beautiful explosion of branches, those are actually handmade paper blossoms that was produced by Ralph Lauren for this shoot.
Wow.
A lot of the furnishing in here is through the Ralph Lauren
Right.
home collection, with the exception of the little chintz covered chair in front of the fireplace that came from Lauren Bacall's estate.
Wow. Wow.
That was something Jessica wanted to pay homage to. She was a big fan of, and her estate had just come out on the block, and so she wanted a little piece of Lauren's history. So anyway, we can look at the next slide. We're still here in Jessica's apartment. Again, this is just showing the range and sort of moving through the apartment, and just you know, I think she fell in love with the apartment because it was so moody, and I think we just added the layers,
Right.
the layers of mood and patina to this particular project. But yes, I think, you know, just the layering of the artwork. I think, you know, in terms of what we do as designers, we're always talking about layering in and sort of towing the line between traditional and modern. And I think there are little things that you can see here in this in these two shots, really, where we've layered in some contemporary artwork on that old tea stain. This is actually fabric on the wall and the image on the left, just to balance out the antiquity of the carpet and the carving on the desk. But just always sort of keeping a balance. But I think then also there's the compositional aspect of not just creating a room, but creating a good photograph, and how those things get moved and placed. And to your point, the hours behind the scenes of composing these shots and making sure that, you know, the blossoms in the vase are the right amount, and that they have the right shape, and that they're balancing out the composition in the room.
Right. When I saw this project, when it was published, I just absolutely fell in love. I mean, this really shows off your work, and for me, knowing the two of you for quite some time, to see how the two of you keep evolving and where you are today. I mean, to me, this is you know, I want to be there. It's so beautiful, you know.
Well, now we're going to go. Yeah, we'll go look at the next slide. So we're going to go. We're going to throw it back to
way back when.
Way back when. So this is a project we published with House Beautiful in 2011 with the esteemed Robert Rufino.
Yes, I remember. This was a great, like, country house, right?
Correct.
It was great. It was fun.
And my fond remembrance of this project and shooting it with you was really the lifestyle that you brought to the home. And you know, behind the scenes here for us, this was a weekend home for a very young couple who at the time didn't have any children. This was their first country home. We had worked with them on a small apartment in the city. And so we were starting really from scratch here.
Right.
I think what's often interesting is, creating a lifestyle where there may not actually be one, and sort of, arriving on scene and look, revisiting this film, it's just lovely to see how the sofa looks lived in, and it looks like somebody just stood up and walked away from a little, cocktail card game at the coffee table. But there's an essence of lifestyle that you poured into this project.
Well, I think as I continue to do photo shoots, I think the whole idea, it's more of about a well-lived life. People want to see that people actually live there. It's not a showroom. Of course, every project is different, but here, this is a country house. It's a weekend house. It could be a full-time house, but the pillars are not perfect. They're a little bit tattered. The sofa is not perfectly straight. Someone just got up, and I think what makes this picture, another thing is the door is open, you're in the country, let the air in, let's go outside. Those are all elements that help a picture and tell a story. This was a fun shoot. I think it was my first shoot with you.
I think it was. It was.
This was way back when I was freelancing at House Beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. It was really
This was Francesco Langhesi.
Yes. Like I'm looking at this. Well, that maybe this beer glass should have had less beer in it. Maybe those flowers should have been less.
I remember being shocked when you sort of cracked open a bottle of beer and put in a glass, and I just thought, our lives as decorators, it's all about the perfection, right? And making sure the pillows are perfectly chopped and all the wrinkles are out and that everything is in its place. And the idea that you sort of whisked in and made it feel lived in and habitable and comfortable. And it really sort of created this essence.
Well, that's the difference from what we just looked at. That beautiful apartment is
perfection,
a different mood, and it's so well photographed, and you still feel comfortable, but it's completely polished, but it's not intimidating. This is more of a different kind of person who lives in this space, and it's a more casual shoot. And I think more and more people want to see that as well as the other. But this was a nice shoot.
right.
Would
And
you
if I
the next slide,
remember,
Sarah?
with House Beautiful, this is still when the articles were done in kind of conversational blocks, right?
Right. You're right. Stephen Drucker was the editor-in-chief then, and it was yes.
So everything about it is a little more casual or formal and connected.
Right. I mean, I do love the picture on the left side, which just opening that door, it's like welcome into our home. I just came back from the garden. I cut these flowers. I chopped them down.
Yeah, you just kind of plop them down perfectly, or the throw that's just perfectly kind of pitched in the window seat.
I know. And for me as a designer, I always love vista images. I like to get a sense of the house or a sense of place. I love to be able, through the photography, to piece together what the house the layout might actually be. And I don't know if that's just because, we look at homes all the time and that's what we do. But I love it when there's glimpses through to other spaces.
Right. And, listen, for me, it's always a great collaboration. It's stylist, editor, the designer, the photographer, there has to be a flow that everyone is working for the right picture and everyone is happy. And we're all proud of what we've accomplished. So, and you don't know where, an assistant may look at the camera and say, oh, we all have to be open to listen when we're on a shoot, because, just turning the chair a little or taking one glass out, everything is, it's all about the details and about every eye sees something differently. And that's the magic, I love this double door and the fog of the morning. It was really, really, really nice. It's
And I
a
think
great project.
this was when you were into your wheatgrass shots, and so you brought that whole plate of wheatgrass and put on the table.
Oh, yes, yes, those were the days.
Let's see if there's another shot in there of the kitchen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, all right, the kitchen. To me, the kitchen, there's a lot of stuff on that counter. I wouldn't do that now, but then it worked. But, I love, the color of that floating island. And, that paint, that color is great, and how you matched it up with that hit of red. I mean, that's a surprise, that's really makes a picture more interesting,
And I remember scrambling, and this is in the country, that there wasn't a Fairway or some
Right, I know.
known market to go to. So I remember sort of scavenging and going to Paley's, the local
I
market.
remember we went to the market. Oh, we need this, we need that. And, I think kitchens, clean up the back counter, make it less, and for something that was done early on, I mean, this still, to me, this picture still holds up. Of course, I would have put less on the counter now, but the embellishment of fresh vegetables and flowers, it still looks good to me,
Yeah, and there's definitely, I feel like there's a timelessness, which we certainly appreciate, because in our portfolio, we're looking at a project from 2011.
Right.
It's great that it looks as current as the ones that we're shooting
Oh, no,
present.
no. Of course, I'm my worst critic. Oh God, why did I do that? Oh my God. But and like, people don't see what I see. That makes us who we are, because we always want it to be better and better and better.
And if anybody can't see, in the far left of that counter, you can see the perfect little pies that Robert found at Phillies and put under the glass
I
dome.
see that, right? I remember. Yes.
And the clients actually, they did a lot of baking, so it was apropos. But
Yeah.
let's see, is there another image of this project? Or are we going? Yeah. So yeah, in the bathroom. Again, this was a very kind of clean, no nonsense bathroom, and the life that you brought to it by, I would have never thought to bring that Delft piece of Voss or that jewelry box in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's totally unexpected, and and that hit of yellow, and the beautiful still life that Francesco did is really, really beautiful. Again, that picture there, it's a little bit out of focus in the back, and again, it's so very romantic. It's a beautiful bathroom. By the way, you did really well, really nice.
Let's see, what else do we have there? This one always makes me think of you, Robert, because again, here we had this beautiful little corner kind of passageway. It was really the hallway where they set up a little desk and a computer, and otherwise it was a blank slate.
Right.
And I remember Robert just unpacking his bag and making his magic and sort of setting up what a real sort of workstation looks like, not one of these completely sanitized, like
Not perfect.
from a computer. It's like stacks of books. His calendar came out, his eyeglasses are there. He threw the bag down, and all of a sudden what was really just kind of a passageway became one of my favorite shots in our portfolio. It's just this, special little moment in the corner.
And listen, sometimes the magic happens when you're on a shoot and you
Yeah.
think about it, and it's like, okay, and it just comes together. And again, someone lives there. It's not perfect, but it is perfect in that way. And I love this little bar setup. I mean, that's fantastic. It's great.
And now these are all really personalized kind of images. So there still is a difference between the kind of romance and the cell for editorial versus when you're shooting for your portfolio.
Of course,
right?
Of course. I mean, I always say to people, okay, you've done your job, you've done a beautiful job, decorators, and when a magazine comes in, we want a different point of view. We want to give it a different edge. And, that's what we do. I mean, as you said, you photograph your projects, whether it's for a book or your website to present to clients. But when a magazine comes in, they have to put on their hat, whether it's for El Decor or House Beautiful or, AD. And, each magazine has to put their stamp on it and put their voice of who they are to give it, the El Decor edge or the House Beautiful edge or the AD edge. And that's important. But, but still, it still has to represent what the designer has done.
All right, let's see what's the next image here. So,
I remember
you. So this is another project we had the pleasure of working with Robert on, this time for Architectural Digest. And this was a very, very contemporary home in New Canaan. And so I think that was a perfect segue, Robert, of, just sort of you knowing explicitly how to manage this project for a different brand and how it has a completely different styling point of view than the previous project for House Beautiful. So.
I mean, this project, this house that you guys did was, completely slick. It was very minimal. And, it's just adding the right amount of flowers or branches in that cylinder, making sure the furniture and just that texture of that fur, this was a great project.
And just the contrast between the previous shot and this one, where every pillow is perfect and every seat is unsatin, because that was really, I think, the tone of this house. Really, it was all about perfection, perfection, perfection. All right, go to the next slide. Right, I mean, just super, super clean and minimal.
I mean, there, look at that kitchen shot. It was completely minimal, very clean, very slick, not too much out.
I mean, it's terrifying to think about cooking there. I mean, everything was white glass.
You should come to my kitchen. My kitchen is all black. Can't cook. But it looks great. And listen, these people lived here.
Yeah.
But, it's great.
See the next image. Right. And so sometimes, it was also about the decorating and the architecture so minimal here. I thought what was really nice about the picture on the right was how this was an Eric Piasecki project, and how he had the foresight to sort of come out of the house and sort of shoot through. So you brought in a little bit of the garden. It sort of pulled in the architecture and gave you a little bit of sense of place, which is also part of the storytelling. I mean, not just the romance of the story, but also trying to visually connect all the parts of the home together so you can see where in this house the bedroom is and how it connected to the landscape.
That was great. Really nice. Again, this was the lower level?
This was the lower level, yeah.
I do remember. Again, very minimal, very, very, very slick. And it worked, it really worked. Clean lines, beautiful. I mean, the carpet, the textures are really, the textures add to the photograph, Yeah,
it gives it a warmth. And I think, Mara, this was on a modern house tour, and you were told it was one of the warmest, or I don't know.
That was the compliment we received from the guests that were on this modern house tour. It was the architect was, very proud because they were able to be included in this kind of classic contemporary architecture tour. And then people who came through were like, "This is so warm." Really?
For us, it's one of the coolest projects we've ever done. But I think in the sort of modern, clean interiors, to your point, textures do give it some warmth and a little bit of light.
I did not find this house cold. I found, knowing obviously the couple was there when we photographed it, they were very warm and engaging.
Fun and engaging.
I think they live minimal, but they really enjoy their home, and they don't want a lot around, but there was a warmth to this place,
All right, let's go to the next. So, so that's all the pretty pictures. That's all the perfection. And now we can really get into the dirt.
But okay, you can talk.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking, the thing we've learned over time that I think we've gotten better at is scouting shots. I don't think we have I don't know if that's part of this presentation, but I think that what we're getting better at is taking pictures of the rooms, and then we bring back to the office and we sketch on them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We come out and sketch on them and decide, like, where do we need to add composition? Where do we need to add color to tie or to link?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because sometimes I do myself look at the pictures and, like, I'm putting in a vase there, and this needs branches and that so you don't overbuy. One always buys a little extra because one never knows, but I think it's always great to study the scouting shots and to plot out what you think you're going to do. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it's like, oh, that was a horrible idea, Robert. Those flowers are really bad there. But it's, you know, again, here's a garage. There's your setup. And, you know, a lot goes into making sure the house is clean, making sure the beds are made. Are there the proper linens? Do they have enough throws, you know?
And this, yeah, so this is from a very sort of during COVID, our first photo shoot.
Wow.
During this pandemic. And so the idea of making notes, so actually, you know, we weren't able to meet with the magazine editor, but they were able to look through our scouting shots and prescribe and take notes. And they basically gave all their direction via notes on our scouting shots to the stylist and to the photographer, because we could only be, you know, 4 people on the job site. Right. There wasn't room for editors and looky-loos, and even the clients weren't there. So it was just a very limited skeletal crew, and we had to sort of make do digitally through notes we received. So these are, you know, this is just, you know, the real behind the scenes of the 5 a.m. run to the flower market with coffee in hand and your bag. Like getting the order together, getting it delivered to the garage, unpacking everything, making a mess, putting up your folding tables, and just, you know, it's sort of, you know, there you are, garage.
The advantage of shooting a house instead of an apartment, that you do have a garage workspace. You know? Yeah. And it's helpful that, you know, the mess is in one place. If it's a small apartment, it's like, it could be challenging sometimes, you know, and I'm a big person, like, I'm a big fan of, like, okay, we're done the room, let's put this back together, let's not wait to the end.
And the next shot. What's the next shot?
And, you know, that's something else that we do. We photograph before we style. We photograph how the client has it, and we usually want to too, and it's their job to put it all back as we move to the next room.
No. And listen, some when I, you know, do something with a decorator or just for a client, you know, we're just photographing something. Oh, leave it that way. I never thought of that way, you know. So some, you know, there's a give and take, because some people say, oh wow, I never thought to put that there or do that like that. So sometimes that happens. So you don't have to put everything back 100% the way it was.
It's just more of that assembly line on our Costco folding tables, where we just bring like every vessel we have, just to make sure, because you never know when you're going into somebody's home if they'll even have a vase. So we're bringing all of our own vessels, a variety of them, so that the stylist can sort of pick and choose what's going to work best in that particular shot that the photographer is framing up. So and more behind the scenes.
I always, in each shoot, I always ask them what do you have in vases, and I always bring some basic vessels just to have. But it's also nice when there is something, then a vessel. You know, someone has a beautiful, interesting piece of pottery or a beautiful vase or some beautiful ceramic ginger jar. It's great. It's great to have a mixture of things, keeping the flowers fresh and the fruit.
And the caffeine in arm's reach. And I've also learned that iced tea can be many things. It can be the liquor in the decanter. If you get a raspberry iced tea, it can be the wine and the...
I buy the real thing. Not that I drink it after, but it's, there you go.
Right. So this is, you know, getting the shot, trying to, you know, communicate with the photographer, you know, what the stylist eyes see, what the designer's eyes see, and just, again, the collaboration and being open to, and oftentimes being proven wrong that, you know, that's not the best shot, or this isn't the best light. And again, I feel like as a designer, you're always hoping for that sunny day and the perfect light. And that's sometimes the photographer's worst nightmares. They don't want that bright light. They want the moody, soft light of a, you know, of a cloudy day.
Yeah. I see you have your uniform pants on there.
Yes, you'll notice in all the behind the
A
scenes
lot of pockets, you know.
cargo pants, every photo shoot and or install. So you have your phone, your cutters, your box cutter, your, you know, everything is
Yes.
on your person.
Yeah. And I'm always looking for my glasses because I put them down. So now I wear a ribbon or something on my neck. So, oh, there are your glasses. Keep them where they are.
So these are some fun things that I thought really told the story of how we often find the rooms when we go back to photograph a project. So this is an example of a boys' room, and we come on set, and of course you find the pile of homework, the baseball cards, you know, things taped up all over the walls, a mishmash of books, you know, the bed's kind of unkept. And so you say, okay, you take a deep breath. You say, we're going to make a great shot out of this, and then just dive in. So you can sort of see us there. On the right, the photographer has sort of his shot sort of framed, and we're basically just working towards that setup. So, and you know, every little inch, moving the bed a little bit, pulling the side table forward, rearranging all the books, cleaning off the desk. To Mara's point, sort of taking all these before pictures so we know exactly where every little baseball card goes back, because I can't tell you how many times I've gotten in trouble by a 12-year-old for misplacing a baseball card or a book. Then we can go to the next. You can see sort of the transformation.
Oh, that looks so much better, right?
As we're sort of going through the editing process and just getting the right lighting and taking all the brackets. And then I think the next shot just shows you.
Oh, that's great. Great.
Final.
That's what you call picture making. You know, that's great. I mean, I love all this blue and that graphic carpet and beautiful windows. Really, really nice. Really.
And I would say we've also gotten better. I'm a little surprised about this, but we've also gotten better at communicating well in advance to understand what our clients expect and what they're willing to provide for the shoot. So we'll kind of question and say, like, will the housekeeping staff be available? And we'll make a small punch list of things that we'll ask for all the linens to be freshly laundered and pressed. And we now have more standards so that we're doing less ironing and prepping and trying to think ahead. I feel like tidying up is something we do all the time.
Right. So this is not untypical of what we might find. Even shoot.
Right.
And what do? You go to the next slide. You just kind of, you hustle and you pull it together and you make it look like a beautiful playroom. It's still played in. It's not perfect, but
it still looks real, you know. The other one was
back to the first shot, the real shot.
Yeah. Wow. And basically, you know, when you see that whole room and whoever photographed this, when you come in and it's not so wide, it makes it such a more interesting picture. You don't need to see everything in the room. Sometimes, you know, it's one corner of a room that says so much more than the whole room, you know. It depends on what the angle is and what you're trying to say. But going back to, you know, making sure all the beds are made. I was on a shoot once in LA way back for AD, and a big house, and there were a lot of beds, and the housekeepers were wonderful. So I said, oh, Maria, I believe her name, can you just go over that top sheet? And she went over and sprayed the steam, and all this brown came out. The entire bed had to be remade. It's like, oh, glad you did it and not me. But, you know, accidents happen, you know. It's like 3 hours later, we went back to the bedroom. Anyway.
And then you have this sort of subterranean rooms where that's when you can go when you do have the rainstorm, or, on a rainy day, you can go shoot these spaces. But,
Right.
but it's just, even in a wine room, a small wine, it's just like organizing every bottle, making sure that
Every bottle is perfectly perfect. I mean, it's just, and so many people don't know what it, they just went in with the flowers.
Right.
And they did the shoot. Oh, that's all, Well, what about moving furniture in and out, taking less putting, sometimes it's too much. You don't need all that furniture, especially when one is trying to do a cover. You do a vignette, or you do a certain amount of it, I love this. What are you doing with that fencing?
So yes, this is just to illustrate the lengths to which one will go to get the shot. So this was a recent shoot on Martha's Vineyard, where sometimes, especially when they're more remote projects, we haven't been back to this site since we installed it a year and a half or 2 years ago. So we had heard there was some landscaping. We weren't really sure what to expect. And we arrive to deer fencing, completely encasing this antique barn that was erected on the site. And so I said to the homeowners, I was like, I mean, is a gardener coming? No, you're going to just have to pull those poles out of the yard, but make sure you put it back, because we don't want the deer to eat it. So we couldn't. And again, there's not an abundance of crew here anymore. I mean, these are skeletal crews during COVID, where it's just it's me and a photographer. That was it. That was all that was allowed on site. So I'm asking this poor guy to help me yank rebar out of the yard and roll this fence up. And so we're out in the rain in our wellies, trying to get the shot in this beautiful Martha's Vineyard-esque nor'easter that was coming through. But just, working with, just all these little elements of the mess that you make, and, all these beautiful views, and then you close all the curtains because you don't want that reflection on the piece of artwork, or the light is too strong. And then you just sort of, you're down, behind the sofa under the plant, looking at the, it's just fun. It's fun. It's an adventure. Or, arriving on set where it's just, they've delivered their books and that's all they've done. And it's your job to sort of pull this room together for the shot in a couple of hours time. So, but you get it done and you get the shot. All that is to say.
And listen, at the end of the day, at the end of the shoot, if it looks great and you're proud of it, it's worth it, It's like theater. It's like putting together something for a movie. It's just, and making beautiful pictures, And
making beautiful beds, to your point, the agony and pillow fluffing, and making sure that the trims on the pillows are upright and get the perfect, throw, and that it's compositionally correct. And, it could take an hour or two just to get this bed shot when Mara's making the bed.
No, listen, beds take forever. Setting a table takes time. And I go around with a tape measure if I have an assistant. It's like that flatware it's not evened up. Look what's across the table. It's got to be done,
So this is taking us from shooting beautiful projects to shooting beautiful products. So this is, everything we've learned from you and from all these photo shoots we've done for our portfolio and for magazines is now being translated to, this is on set in Century's.
Oh, in High Point.
High Point
showroom. So this was for our launch market last year. And, it's down to the wire, like a lot of photo shoots are. The shot on the left, you can see Mara's in the front of the SUV. We've run over to Visual Comfort to pick up our light fixtures, which had just arrived in North Carolina that day. And so we're transporting them to the Century showroom. And there Mara is standing on top of our table, hanging the lantern and assembling it and putting the light bulbs in.
But I like to assemble furniture.
I mean, it's all very glamorous.
I think that's what I feel like, we've worked together a long time, and Jesse and I started in the business 25 years ago, and a lot has changed in 25 years with internet and digital media. And and even HGTV. I feel like HGTV has ruined a generation of designers because
Agree.
it's supposed to,
It is.
not aesthetically, but just the idea of like poof, or like they'll do things for a homeowner for $5,000 and they don't show you the team of 40 that are
Yeah.
putting it together
Yeah.
on the back end. And I think that we've really understand that we have, one of the last shoots we did, we have an installation kit. We have wires to, put cords to hide cords behind legs. We have all these physical tricks. We clean, we organize. I like to organize actually. So like, I wish I had done that kids' playroom, but
Let's talk about this.
there's just a lot of physical labor and grunt work that I think is really unexpected.
And donkeys.
And donkeys. Well, where was I? I was in somewhere in Mexico on a shoot, and in the dining room there was a half door looking to the dining room. I said, oh, it would be great to have a donkey looking in. And the homeowner said, you're for real, right? I went, yeah. I said, whatever, I mean, sure, how much is it going to cost me? And she gathered, she called some guy and he brought two beautiful donkeys together, and it made a great shoot. And this one, I was in the countryside of London, and beautiful house, and they had beautiful gardens. And I said, oh, why don't we do a beautiful over-the-top table setting out in the field? So I loaded up this truck with candelabras, and there we went. And that's the sickness. It's like, what is he talking about? Like, that's when the magic happens, if it can happen, especially in this countryside mansion and these beautiful gardens, and we did this over-the-top table setting. And that's the fun of it, Like, if you're not having fun, it's hard work. It's hard work being an interior designer. It's hard work going on a photo shoot. It all looks very glamorous, but the fun is, if you're not, the fun is, if you're not having fun doing it, and listen, everyone knows I'm very serious. I'm like a colonel when I go on a shoot. But, you have to have a sense of humor. And at the end of the day, we all are happy that we have accomplished and made a beautiful portfolio, whether it's for your website or a magazine or your book. And that's the magic of what we do,
It's so exciting to get your first crack at the image after you've put all that labor.
Wow. Now that's where you're doing that chandelier, right?
So this is the after shot of getting the
there you go.
hung, and the curtains are up and the artwork's in place. And, this is product. It's different than interiors, but it's similar. You're sort of, in this instance, you're definitely creating a fantasy.
Right, but you created an environment. But, whether this is in a showroom or not, it still could be someone's home. Why not? It's you created, an environment here. So these are both, is it a showroom?
This is still in the same showroom, yeah. So literally sort of inventing from a box of nothing, a windowless box.
Right.
Just inventing a space out of.
But if you didn't tell me that, or if this, would you know? No, this could be someone's living room.
Maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
Hey, no.
And this is just to show, so this is actually for our Lee Jofa collection, which just came out this summer. Again, there was no real opportunity for photo shoots, except for this one at Diana Parish Studios in North Carolina.
Wow.
Where, again, we weren't able to fly. It was off the list. And so we had to basically communicate and direct
Design
the photo shoot
through Zoom.
So basically what we had to develop were these, this is similar to what Mara was mentioning before, where we might draw on some scouting shots, but again, this was creating an environment out of thin air. And so it was really on us to sort of illustrate to the photography crew in North Carolina how we wanted the pieces assembled, where we wanted the pieces, how to basically build the shot. And so we communicated through these PDFs that we put together to create, which is, I think, the next slide, shows you the final shot. So this was all done remotely. They would send us a picture on the phone, and we would say, oh, could you just move that pillow over here a little bit? Take a couple of the roses out of the vase, but otherwise, it's a whole new territory of
No. Yeah. I mean, listen, I mean, you achieve this, and that's fantastic. It's like, I did one shoot on Zoom not too long ago. I was like, no, you don't understand what I'm saying. Just, it's so frustrating sometimes.
Yeah.
Then they get it. I started doing this thing called the Rufino report, and I can't do my still lives or do little setups like this. So I started using illustration, and I love it because I'm working with these different illustrators and saying, these are the products. Can you do this? Can you do that? So that to me is rewarding because it's bringing in another element, and I love illustration. So it works for me. But for this, this is fantastic that you were able to achieve this. And it all looks so easy and simple, but we all know
communication
it was not.
No.
And let me ask you a question. When you do most of your photo shoots for yourself, do you use a stylist, or it's only when the magazine is
Both. Some we do when we can. It's become trickier. I think clients are very concerned about letting a bunch of people into their homes, so we've had to sort of make do and do some self-styling. But I prefer to work with a stylist. I think, to your point, it's that collaboration, and I think that what you see is different than what I see, as the designer. Right. It's different than what the stylist sees. It's different from what the photographer sees, and I think the best shots always come from that collaborative approach.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, I think sometimes a stylist is needed. I think you guys do a fantastic job with or without a stylist. I think you guys are so focused of who you are and what you have done and what you continue to do. And I absolutely love your taste because it's no nonsense, it's precise, and you know how to do different things. And I love, like your book, there's such a variety of what you can offer the clients, and what the two of you have contributed to the design world,
Well, thank you.
and I think it's important, but it's having a right photographer and a stylist and the decorator. It's a collaboration.
Yeah,
and we've been very lucky. We work often with photographer Samuel Frost, who's my cousin.
Oh, wow.
That is a whole other level because we're married, and then we're working with my only cousin. And what happens a lot there is I leave and I let Jesse work with Sam so that he and I can love each other all the time.
No, sometimes I'm doing these videos, and I was up in Rhinebeck, and my best friend is photographing me, my friend Philip, and I completely freeze. I get so uptight. He said, "You love to talk. You're a character. You're funny. What's the matter?" I said, "It's you. I can't do it around you. It's like I'm not judging you, but it's funny how certain things do certain things. Certain people or certain spaces do things to us, but that's all part of the process." So
something I've noticed is I do think having a soundtrack is kind of important because we've done it sometimes, but it's not one of our rules for a shoot. But I do think having a soundtrack has been, if we have music playing that creates a mood, that really helps everybody kind of get on the same page.
Right.
How something should feel, or the energy. Is it a fun energy?
No,
is it
I think if you have music going and you're building up to something, I mean, listen, I'm not saying I live in a fantasy world, but when I go on a shoot, and I've done this for a long, long time. The night before, I'm like a kid. I'm very excited going to the flower market and, getting in the car, driving there. I mean, it's just part of the passion. And if you don't have the passion for what you're doing, then it's not worth it. You know, whether you're, you know, a bank teller or a cashier, God forbid, but you have to have passion for what you're doing. And at the end, it's rewarding, you know?
Agreed.
So I just looked at the chat and you guys do have one question.
One question. What's the one
If
question?
anybody wants to throw in some more questions, please do.
What's the one question, Sarah?
From B&B Interior Space, I used to use the RL suede paint. What happened to it? Anything similar out there, such a stunning room?
Oh, it evaporated. Is there anything out there similar to it? I mean, we can certainly, with decorative artists, we can replicate it. It's really just kind of, there's a sand in the pigment, and it just makes a very sort of, it's almost trialed. It's not trialed on, but it's brushed on, and it gives a, you know, a suede finish. But unfortunately, no longer with Ralph Lauren. No paint.
Send them an email. See if they'll bring it back.
Right.
Anyway, well, that's, you know, any other questions, Sarah?
I don't see any coming in. So I guess that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. This was nice.
Oh, no, and congratulations on your
Much.
day.
Thank you.
And how long have the two of you been in business together? How old is your business?
15 years.
Wow. That has a lot to say.
Oh wait, you guys, one more came in and then we'll call it lunchtime. What do you think about cropping ends off of furniture?
Gordon?
Cropping ends.
I think it's
Yeah.
something necessary.
I think that it depends on, yes, I feel like we have done that before where it kind of creates a little bit of a shape, or you're looking over maybe a chair arm or a sofa back or something. I think it helps to create a little bit of atmosphere in a shot. Yeah, I feel like sometimes,
Composition.
I feel like my pet peeve in any photography is to avoid it looking like real estate shot where you see everything. You know, you don't want to give it all away.
That's one thing I hate when I'm on a shoot for a magazine. And could you get the bottom of that? Like, no, this is not a catalog. This is more about intrigue, making pictures, telling a story.
Yeah.
And that is the magic of what I do for magazines, is to tell a story to
Vignettes.
the
Yeah.
reader, you know, to really walk into that space. So I hope you guys are going to have a nice celebration dinner or lunch or something.
Thanks, Robert. I don't know what she has in store for me. It's a surprise.
Oh, no. You're in charge here. You're in charge here. Anyway, well, the two of you are a very handsome and charming couple, and I absolutely adore what you do. And I'm honored that you've asked me, and thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Lee Jofa. And it's been delightful. And, you know, let's just keep doing what we're doing and creating beauty. And
Let's
that's
take the show on the road. Let's take the show on the road,
all
Robert.
right, anytime. I'll get my wellies and my tools, wear my cargo pants.
Yes, that's a requirement.
Thank you
All right.
very, very much. And congratulations on your new adventure. And I hope to get you in the magazine soon. We've got to find something from you that I could put in the Rufino report.
Please.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye.
Monday. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you.